Have you ever had that voice in the back of your head that tells you you should go play pro pickleball? Well, many have had that voice, and many have contemplated the question. And trust me when I tell you, many don't really understand how to even formulate an answer. And today, I'm going to walk you through part of that conversation. Why does everybody think they can play pro pickleball? Well, in my last video, I deep dive into that question and really gave a surface level answer. And essentially, all the summary is it's just an easy sport. A lot of skills transfer from baseball, hockey, tennis, where you can really be really good at the sport from wherever sport you came from. That's what makes it easy and why everybody thinks they can play pro. It's a new sport. It's not really developed. But what are the finances and what are the opportunity costs? That's what we're going to answer today. And if we move over to these tabs on the bottom, you're going to see tournament costs and payout structure. I'm going to skip over these tabs because my last video, we went over these. So if you're curious about the specificalities of these tabs, go watch my last video. It'll really explain it. My name is Ryan Morneau. I'm the #1 collegiate singles player in the country and a top 5 collegiate doubles player in the country. And I've had this question before. I've had that voice in the back of my head, and many of my friends have had the same voice. I've seen professional pickleball players down in Florida, some young kids, do really, really well with this kind of question and navigating it, building their personal brand and really making something out of themselves. But I've also seen the reverse side. I've seen a 22-year-old play for 4 years, now at 26, not really employed and has no real skills to kind of make himself into something at this point. So it's a really important question, and I really want to frame it for you guys in a way that's understandable, makes sense, and can help you navigate just what people go about when they hear pro pickleball. So the first part is just some assumptions that we're going to get from our previous video. And if you're going to see on the top left of your screen, essentially, if you want to play pro pickleball, there's 26 PPA tournaments a year. You have to play about 20 of them or 75% of them to give yourself a real shot at making it, right? To get that key win, to prove to yourself you either belong or you're in the lower half of the pack where it's just not really going to work out. So that's where the first key assumption comes in. And that gets us to a tournament cost of about $1,300 per tournament. And in our last video, we dove into why this number is it. But this is on the lower end, right? Tournament costs can go all the way up to $2,000 in registration, travel, flight, lodging, etc. And if we play like 20 tournaments a year, we're getting a total yearly cost of around $25,000 trying to play pro pickleball on a yearly basis. And the question that pops in your mind, well, what about prize money? What about sponsorships? The reality is most people are not getting sponsors in pro pickleball because they're just not at the top of the game. So you're taking them around $0 to $5,000 in prize money. So keep that in mind. And that may seem low, but that's unfortunately just the reality for most players. And now our key assumption is to get a real world example. Try to exemplify this in a way that makes sense for you guys. So our life assumptions, right? We're going to assume we're 23 years old, which is around my age. I'm 22. You have no spouse, you have no kids, no dependents, and you work a 9-to-5 corporate job that you just secured after college. Maybe you're in a bit of student debt, maybe you're not. We're going to leave that out of the question. We're going to try to broaden this as much as possible so you guys can make inferences in your own life while getting the key baseline figures. And to be honest, I assumed you were making $85,000 out of college. This is a relatively optimistic assumption. Many of my friends that are now seniors in college, juniors in college, they're struggling to even find jobs that pay $60,000 to $70,000 a year in their field. Mind you, $85,000, which is a more than generous number. But I really want to frame this in a way that it's possible, right? I want to have this bull case, this optimistic view that it might make sense. So this is where I'm going with this, but keep in mind that after taxes, this is going to get you to around $65,000. State by state, it varies, but for the sake of this example, we're just going to use a national average. Then this brings us to our total earnings after playing pro, right? We're going to take this $25,000 number, subtract it from our $64,000, and that's going to give us a total of around $45,000 we're taking home in earnings after we play professional pickleball post-tax. And this may not seem too bad, but this is just not factoring in any other aspect of life. Rent comes into a figure if you're not living at home, right? That may run you a median of $1,700 a month or another, $20,000. Now you're only off of $24,000. Factor in food, factor in life insurance, health insurance, right? The list goes on. So you can kind of apply this to your own standard of living and just see how far this number gets reduced. Are you even breaking even in the year? That's a question I'll leave for you to answer. But that's not really the point of this video, right? That just frames the argument and gets you thinking, okay, well, those numbers, like, they're not great. What if I only make 60 grand a year? Like, am I losing money trying to pursue my dream? Yeah, you actually might be. And that's only half the battle. The other half that I'm really more interested in, and one of the reasons why I decided that professional pickleball didn't really make sense for me to pursue, although, you know, whether it be egotistically or whatever, I think and I know I have the talent to at least give myself a shot on tour. But these 4 questions you're going to see on the right side of your screen came into play a lot when I really sat down at night and I thought about it, whether it be late night or whatever. That voice in the back of my head combined with a bunch of reason, it led to an answer that wasn't a yes. It wasn't a hard no, but it wasn't a yes for these main reasons. And the key one I really want to talk about that I think is really important, probably the most important question you have to ask yourself, is what skills are you building playing professional pickleball? And before you answer this, let me kind of lay out the landscape here. So if you go work a corporate job, whether it be an engineer, whether you're going to be a doctor, whether you're going to be on Wall Street, like I'm going to be, right? You have to ask yourself, where are you building skills and are they important? And let's just start on the pickleball side. In reality, you're hitting a ball with a paddle. That is your skill. And I know that's oversimplifying it, but in all reality, you're not really building any skills. You're competing. And that's more than fine. But down the line, when we look 5 to 10 years in the future and where we want to go after we compete, it becomes a real concern and a real question. On the pickleball court, there are other things that are valuable though, right? If you work a corporate job, are you building a brand? Not necessarily. You're more of a servant to the company. Especially if it's Fortune 500, you're a servant to the shareholders, right? So you're not building a personal brand. In pickleball, you have the opportunity, and it's almost a necessity that you do that. And that can lead to opportunities. So that's a kind of a pro for pickleball. And if we want to keep a tally, right? If we have, let's just say we have, that's not how you spell pickleball, huh? If we have pickleball on this side, right? We have P and B, and then we have, let's just say corporate over here. If we're going to tally points, are we building skills? Yes, we're going to get one for corporate. Then pickleball, sure. We're building more of a brand. Then the next question is, are you able to add meaningful value to whatever opportunities arise? So let's just say we're now 26. We started at 23, we're now 26. We've played pro pickleball for a few years. An opportunity comes, right? A great example of this is Susanna Barr, who's a top female in the APP tour, but she's now taking a step back from competing because she and a local pro from her hometown were able to find an investor. They open a pickleball club, right? She was able to add meaningful value because of her expertise, not only in pickleball, not only in coaching, but just her knowledge of the pickleball landscape. She provided real value to an investor that had the money and the expertise on running a business, but he needed the valuable pieces that actually ran that business. Susanna Barr was that valuable piece. Are you able to do that? If yes, this is something that can lead to future opportunities that are actually important in pickleball. If no, well, that's a problem because now you're stuck. You're stuck with no real value add to anybody, and you're not exactly winning. And unless you're one of the top players in the world, you're not really making a living. You have no future earnings potential. This is a problem. So this is a really important question because on the corporate side, the answer, while maybe more limited than the upside of pickleball, it's always yes. Are you able to add value? Let's just say, you're a doctor, right? You're always adding value to a hospital. If you're an engineer, well, your creative mind and kind of the ability to actually make and do things, value. And if you're in finance, right, the ability to know how money works and service small businesses or whether it be large corporations on making them more productive, more efficient, you're adding value. In pickleball, it's not a straight cut, although the upside may be higher. Then finally, one of the most important things that you can do if you're playing pro pickleball is, are you able to network? Because this is the pinnacle of every job. I don't care if you're a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, or playing pro pickleball, the ability to communicate properly and network is so, so important. And one of the things that I really found super important in pickleball, I got my job on Wall Street because of pickleball. Pickleball led me to that job, and from there I was able to do all the interviews and all that stuff, but pickleball was my way in. And this can be a really, really important thing for if you're considering playing pro pickleball, if you're a good talker, a good communicator, you can articulate yourself. This can be a huge advantage in scaling not only your own skill building, but your just brand, right? Your personal brand can grow if you collaborate and you partner with people, but also future opportunities, right? When pickleball is all said and done, and if you're not Ben Johns, you're not Gabe Tardio, or even if you're not like a Rafa Hewitt, who's at least getting by, right? If you're not one of those top players in the world, well, you've been to these tournaments, you've talked to all the right people, all the people that are just, they've made it in life and they're kind of in it for the love of the game at this point. If you can talk to them, secure opportunities that way, well, now you're ahead of the pack. Even the corporate guys that are 26 years old, maybe an associate at a bank or a law firm, right? Now you can really have an opportunity to make it. So the ability to network is so important. And these 4 questions, I want you to go down the list and kind of ask yourself these 4 questions. And if you're younger, or if you're in mid-30s and you're considering it, these are the questions you need to answer that really frame the realistic and sensible answer of why you should or shouldn't go pro. I hope this helps, and it's just, again, it's the second part of the conversation. There's many other things we can kind of dive into, but I really think this is so important, the opportunity cost aspect of playing pro pickleball, because if done right, it can scale your business and scale your brand to new levels. If done wrong, it can pigeonhole you into a sport that you haven't gained any skills in. You have no future earning potential. So really important few questions, and I hope it at least helped frame the conversation and the question of why does everybody think they can play pro pickleball. That being said, let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and with that, I'll see you later.